Hi, this is Tom's Epic Gaming, and in this video I'm going to go over Epic Card Game's sealed format called Random 60, and then provide a real-time example of building a Random 60 deck afterwards. In Random 60, you are dealt a list of 60 cards, with between 13 and 17 cards from each alignment, and then basically use that list to build an exactly 30 card deck, ignoring any constructed deck building restrictions, so basically just run the 30 cards you want. The easiest way to simulate this in person is to divide all of the cards by alignment into 4 separate stacks, deal out 13 cards of each faction, and then use a D4 to basically determine which card you add from which alignment. Do that 8 times and you have your deck, and remember each faction can only gain an additional 4 cards. So I'm just going to shuffle these real quick, deal out 13 cards, and roll the die to do that, and I'll just speed right through that. Alright, and now we have basically our entire Random 60 pool. So I'm just going to change camera views, and then we'll go through and build this deck. One nice thing about Random 60 is if you don't like your first initial pool of cards, you can mulligan your entire list and get a new list of 54 cards. However, you can only do this once, and you want to decide as soon as possible to give you as much time for deck building left over. So let's just go through all of our cards to see how decent our pool is and whether or not we want to keep it. So first thing what I do is I look for any incredibly high value cards that I always want to play regardless of alignment. I see how strong each alignment is, and I should check out my zero cost cards, which I don't do as much as I should. So here we go. Raging T-Rex. Super powerful. If I go wild, I love to have this card. Surprise attack is always decent. I don't love it as much as other people do. Go wild is a playable 0. Mighty Blow, it's playable. I don't love it too much. Bellowing Minotaur is basically unplayable. Den Mother's okay. Rage is okay. Goes nicely with my Raging T-Rex. Lightning Storm's pretty good. I'll probably run it no matter what. Pack Alpha's not great. Fire Spirit's pretty good. I like it. Fire's Rebellion's pretty good. I'll probably run it either way. Strafing Dragon is great if I go wild. Cave Troll's pretty good if I go wild. Worm Hatchling's okay if I go wild. And Rampaging Worm's fairly good. So my wild's okay. It's nothing special. For Sage, Standalone's okay. It's playable always. Force Mage Apprentice is something I will always play. Winter Fairy's okay. Fairy Trickster's not great. Vanishing's pretty strong and it's a 0. Arcane Research is okay. I'm not a huge fan of it. Transform is okay. Reusable Knowledge is pretty good. I'll probably run it no matter what. Keeper of Secrets, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's still pretty good. Time Walker rewards me for going Sage. Same with War Machine and Velden. All 3 of those are fairly good, but not amazing. Deadly Raid's a draw 2. I don't love it. Temporal Shift is pretty good. Probably run it. Warrior Golem's good if I go Sage. Once again, my Sage isn't amazing. Let's see what else I got. Ooh, Xanos is really good if I go Evil. Demonic Rising is pretty good if I go Evil tokens. So that's more of a strategy dependent card. Consume is something I'll always play. Microvirus is okay, not amazing. Medusa is insanely powerful. Thrasher Demon is something I'll always play generally. I'm not a huge fan of Soul Hunter. Army of the Apocalypse is okay. Hands from Below is okay. Dark Leader is horrible. Corpse Taker is okay, I'm not a huge fan. Demon Breach is solid, but nothing crazy. Roxas Enforcer is about the same. Roxas Displeasure could work very well with those. Because Medusa's a demon, so it survives. Thrasher Demon's a demon, so it survives. Roxas Enforcer's a demon, so it survives. Demon Breach as well. Noxus Curse is amazing. And Heinous Feast is a mass discard pile banish card, and you always want at least one of these in your deck. So having that in my pool is really powerful. My evil is okay. I have 2 cards that are great for it, but a lot of cards that are middling, so I'm not sure how much I want to do with that. Second Wind's alright. Insurgency is very strategy dependent, and you almost never want to do it. Urgent Messengers is something that's basically always playable. Resurrection is solid, but not amazing. Noble Martyr is pretty bad, but it does go with Insurgency. I personally love Inner Peace, just because I have a very defensive strategy, and I basically win over time, and Inner Peace prevents me from losing to Burn, one of the few things that can be very strong against my strategy. Avenger of Covenant's okay. Justice Prevails can be strong, especially if I do have tokens. White Dragon is something I would love to have if I go good, but I generally don't. Similar with Peros. Blind Faith is just super strong. Justice Prevails should actually be down here. Just because it can basically answer any situation you need, especially as a more defensive deck. Silver Dragon's just solid, nothing amazing, but I'll probably run it. Lateral Mission's pretty bad. Gold Dragon's really strong if I go good. So looking at everything I have, I don't have any one huge standout alignment. I have a couple strong cards across a couple different ones, but nothing really to support them amazingly. I don't have any super high impact reestablishing champions besides Medusa, so what I'm largely looking for here are Sea Titan, Kong, Palace Guard, cards like that, Winged Death. I do have Time Walker and War Machine, but that's nothing amazing. Surprise Attack with Time Walker is really good, but I don't really have the zero-cost champions to really support it. Because that'd be Keeper of Secrets, Force Mage, which doesn't even work that great with it, Warrior Golem, Thrasher Demon, and that's pretty much it. This is probably a pool I would mulligan personally, just because I don't see enough powerful things for what I want to do. I love Fire Spirit, but I don't really have anything great to go with it aside from like Lightning Storm. I'd rather have like Rain of Fire to go with it. I'm not a big fan of Worm Hatching. It really pretty much belongs here in my opinion. So yeah, I would mulligan this pool. But let's just say I've already mulliganed and I'm stuck with this pool, because if I would have mulliganed into this with 4 less cards, I would have to build a deck from it. So let's see what we can do deck building wise. First, I want to determine which faction I want to try for, which is going to be any of these 3 main ones, Wild, Sage, or Evil. I'm not going to go good because I don't have a great good pool, and good is also basically always the worst faction. So we can start taking out cards in that assumption. So Insurgency and Noble Martyr are not going to be played. The rest of those are possibilities. Dark Leader and Vital Mission almost certainly will not be played. Same with Bellowing Minotaur. So let's see, which faction do I want to go? Probably Sage, because these 3 are quite powerful. And I do have some way to work with bouncing my own guys. I might try and go fairly deep into Evil to make that Medusa viable, because I'll definitely run those 3. So I could do something like this, but that's not looking amazing. It's alright though. Wild is my other possibility. Raging T-Rex is strong enough that it might be worthwhile. Worthwhile. Fire Spirits. Yeah, my Wild Synergy just isn't there, and it's not one of my favorite favorite colors. So probably either Evil or Sage. Don't really like either of them. So yeah, this is definitely one I would mulligan. But let's see what we can make out of this. So I'm just going to go with Sage, see how it looks, and then I might change my mind later. So that means we are not running Raging T-Rex. We're probably not running either Fire Spirit or Strafing Dragon or Cave Troll. Mighty Blow is a possibility if we have nothing better. Pack Alpha is something I'd rather not run. Same with Worm Hatchling, is definitely not being run. So if we're doing that, Gold Dragon probably won't be run. Peros probably won't be run. White Dragon might still be played. Let's see. I don't have a ton of health gain. I have Consume. Possibly Xanos. So Evil might be my better choice just because I have some amount of token synergy with Xanos and Demonic Rising, Hands from Below, Demon Breach, Necrovirus. So if I were to go Evil, to try and make Xanos as strong as possible, I would probably run all of these except for the Dark Leader that I already took out. All of them are pretty decent with each other, and Demonic Rising is one of the main reasons why I'm thinking about going tokens. Could also run Deadly Raid, but I very much dislike that card. So let's see, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to run Soul Hunter. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I really would want more for Xanos. Otherwise, Xanos just doesn't do all that much. Yeah, since Xanos is the only one that I need super heavy evil for, I might just cut Xanos, but keep the Medusa, since there's plenty of cards in here I'd want to play, and I would have enough that Medusa is probably worth holding on to just because it is that powerful. So let's assume I'm doing that. So let's cut Xanos. But I think I'll keep Necrovirus, Hands from Below, Demon Breach, all this evil to go with my Medusa. Rox's Enforcer might be cut. It's powerful, but not quite powerful enough. So that's what I'm thinking in this area. White Dragon might get cut. Urgent Messengers is definitely staying for now. Yeah, all these look pretty good. Over in my good. Den Mother goes with my token, so I don't really want to cut that. If I'm going Sage, Rage is pretty good with these three. And I could go Rampaging Worm as well, but I'd have 2 Chargers, so I wouldn't necessarily need to. Mighty Blow is good with tokens, so that might see its way through. And Go Wild makes all of those 3 able to contest the big guys like Sea Titan and Kong. So I think I'm going to take out Rampaging Worm for now. It might go back in. If I'm going primarily Sage, I want basically all of these. Fairy Trickster is okay if I have enough 0-cost cards, but I'm going to cut it for now. Keeper Secret, Force Mage, and Warrior Golem are definitely staying in. Arcane Research, I'm not a huge fan of. Alright, so this is generally what I'm looking at here. So now that I have a general idea of how I want to build this deck, I'm going to start dividing this into my distributions. I'm going to start by going slow, fast, 0, and then it's looking like I don't have a ton of zeros, so I probably won't cut any zeros going forward, except for possibly White Dragon. So let's see, how many Sage do we have first, real quick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so that's fine. So as long as we don't cut too much Sage, we'll be good. And Rox's Enforcer. Rox's Enforcer would be nice for breaking the synergy between tokens. So if my opponent's going tokens and I have Rox's Enforcer in play, all of my tokens will win. That's not amazing. Alright, so zeros. Arcane Research I don't really count as a 0. Don't really count Corpse Taker as a 0 either, since it's essentially just getting back a 1. So we do have plenty of zeros, which is good. Since zeros are a lot of the ways that you actually win games. So that's nice. So now we divide by fast as the other one, which should be the rest of these. Fast being anything you can play in combat or on your opponent's turn. Alright, so how much do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. So we have to cut 13 cards. Alright, let's see. So what are the weaker cards I have in here? I'm not a huge fan of Arcane Research or Corpse Taker. Is there anything in here I want to specifically Arcane Research for? Well, Inner Peace potentially, Lightning Storm, Fires of Rebellion, so possibly. Let's count my draw now. Since, based on this, I don't see anything I particularly want to get rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have very few ambush champions, though, and that is a very real problem. So I'm not cutting these two cards. And Avenger of Covenant might have to stay in as well. Let's look at some of the things we got rid of just in case. So nothing in there. Ambush is in, so we don't care about any of that. Dark Leader isn't good enough. Fairy Trickster is worth considering. And Strafing Dragon is worth considering, although I doubt they'll make the cuts. Alright. So, seeing here, there isn't really anything that jumps out at me as needing to be cut. The only thing I really learned from this is that these three are not coming out. These two might have to come in. So now I'm going to check how much card draw we have, because card draw is very important. You want to have at least half your deck be able to draw you cards. If you have less than half your deck being able to draw you cards, then you're likely to just run out of cards. And I do not consider Arcane Research or Corpse Taker to have card draw, although they're kind of, sort of. So I'm not going to rely on White Dragons, since I'm not going primarily good. So let's see what else we got. Surprise Attack, it's kind of in the middle. That does count. Lightning Storm is kind of in the middle. So if I have plenty of card draw, then I'll probably cut some of my weaker card draw of cards that I just don't like that much. So it's looking like we have plenty of card draw, so we're not worried about that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Alright, we have plenty. So Transform is generally a weaker card. It's targeted removal, but it always gives your opponent something. Deadly Raid I don't particularly like. Stand Alone I don't particularly like. We are taking away cards from Sage, which is our primary alignment, which isn't great, but they're still just fairly weak cards in my opinion. Arming the Apocalypse doesn't really go with much of what we have, since we don't have a ton of Blitz. We do have Velden, and that's basically our only inherent Blitz, so that's probably coming out. Resurrection, what can we use Resurrection with? War Machine, Time Walker, Velden, Dead Mother, Medusa. None of those are great, and it's in an off color, so we're going to take that out. What else we got? We did have a ton of zeros with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I could take out some zeros if I absolutely wanted to. We're trying to go for a fairly strong token strategy. So those 5 definitely seem fairly easy to remove. Rage does go with Time Walker, War Machine, and Velden. But that's pretty much it. Technically Silver Dragon and Winter Fairy can do interesting things with it. Not a huge fan of it though, especially since I'm going primarily tokens. So I can probably cut Winter Fairy, since I have so much card draw still, and that's just primarily a card draw card. So I'm going to cut that, I think. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we still have a lot we need to cut. How much do we want that white dragon as a 5/5 airborne champion that probably will not recycle? Let's check how many meaningful zero-cost bodies we have, and then this one might hit the cutting block. I also want to check airborne champions, which I seem to be fairly low on as well, but Avenger of Covenant can potentially punish that, although it might. It's not getting cut because I just need ambush champions. So I don't have a ton of zero-cost champions that are actually meaningful, so I don't really want to cut the white dragon. I'm going to take out the Roxas Enforcer now because it's more of a luxury than anything else, especially since I've cut so much Sage at this point. So for health gain we do have Second Wind and Inner Peace, and Heinous Feast technically. For targeted removal we have Temporal Shift, Fires of Rebellion, Vanishing counts. I'll probably take out Mighty Blow since it's off color and it's card drop most of the time. Other targeted removal, Lightning Storm counts. That'll almost certainly be something my opponent plays for with 6 or less defense. Avenger of Covenant kind of counts. Velden counts. And if we have enough evil, Medusa counts too. So we have a decent amount of targeted removal. Necrovirus goes with our token synergy that we want. So the only off-turn removal here, Necrovirus, Fires of Rebellion, Temporal Shift. I have more than I need, but I don't see anyone that I particularly want to get rid of. Could get rid of Fires of Rebellion and just rely on Lightning Storm, which I'm generally fine with. And that leaves me Temporal Shift, Necrovirus, and potentially Medusa. And Fires of Rebellion is off color, and we have 2 factions we're trying to hit loyalty in, even though evil is just for Medusa. So what are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So we only have to cut 4 more cards. I remember being low on ambush champions, and I might be low on champions in general, so let's divide it by champions and spells. So we need to be able to put on, although technically we don't have to put on pressure since we do have Heinous Feast, so champions aren't a huge deal, but let's separate them that way anyway. Just so we can see what we're looking at. Demon Breach might come out just because it is fairly weak, and we don't need the card draw, so that's probably coming out. Corpse Shaker is nice, but what do I want to get back with it? That's the question. I don't think there's any one-cost champion in here except for Medusa that I particularly want to get back. And I'm not a huge fan of Corpse Taker. Yeah, let's take out Corpse Taker for now. So we are fairly low on champions, and that makes Go Wild and Rage worse, and they are off color. So if we take out those, what are we left with? That's most of what we got rid of. 1, 2, 20, 29, 30, 31. Now let's go with Demon Breach for now, just because that's generally a weaker card. Alright, let's clean up how this looks a bit. Let's go slow, fast, and zeros, because that's the baseline that I always want to look at. Alright, so let's look at individual cards that are fairly weak, but we put in for the synergy to see if they're worth it. Roxas Displeasure, Justice Prevails, and Demonic Rising. While I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to check board clears real quick, because I know I'm fairly low on them. We have Time Walker. Demonic Rising is... if I have more champions than him, it's a perfectly reasonable board clear. Roxas Displeasure, so 3, so that's okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 zeros. We have 5 slow champions. We have effectively 3 ambush champions. Roxas Displeasure isn't amazing for me. It is one of my few board clears, so it might be good enough. I don't think I got rid of any board clears. I did not. Inner piece cards to recall, I have 1, 2, 3, 3, so that's basically the minimum. 4 with Silver Dragon, so that's fine. Let's look at card draw. Since these distributions are fine, it's tempting to put one of these back in, and I do have a lot of zeros. How valuable would that be, though? White Dragon's fine to get off of it, Force Mage is fine, Thrasher, fine, 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 fine. Arcane Research effectively just draws me a card. Vanishing wouldn't do anything, Hands from Below is Guys, Consume is potentially. That's... So I think I want to put Fairy Trickster in. It's not an amazing card, but I do need more off-turn plays, more off-turn champions specifically. So I'm going to try and make room for that. Let's see how many Sage cards we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So putting that back in makes us a more reasonable number for that, which is good. Card draw, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and Arcane Research and Surprise Attack, but essentially just thin my deck, so I count them as like half a card, or my deck size is 28 essentially. So with 14 solid card draw cards, not including Inner Peace and Lightning Storm, I'm fine with that. So I do need to cut one more card. Justice Prevails is decent. Let's look at my token synergy, since that's a decent amount of what I built this deck around. Largely to see if it's worth keeping certain token synergy cards in my deck. I do have a lot of zero-cost champions. Well, I guess not even that many. I'm talking about Justice Prevails buff primarily. All of those would be willing to attack as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 token cards. Or cards that work with Justice Prevails in general. Yeah, I think I'm going to take out the Justice Prevails, since I have Inner Peace and Second Wind for health gain. I don't really need more health gain. This is a great card if I had more tokens, but at my current count, I think I'm willing to get rid of it for now. So that brings me back down to 30 cards with the addition of Fairy Trickster. But that puts my card draw a little bit risky. So is there anything back here I might want to trade in for it? I'm not going to put Deadly Raid in because I don't like that card. Fires of Rebellion is always interesting, same with Mighty Blow. My champion count is fairly low with those 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, plus a few more tokens. Let's go back here and look at these really quick just to make sure we're not forgetting anything. Pack Elf is a little bit weak, but it's worth putting down here. The rest of those are not. Rampaging Worm isn't what we need. How much evil did we take out? 2, 3. Xenos is worth consideration, but not amazing. And none of these are really worth anything. Gold Dragon's good, Paris is good, but not really cards we need still. So I'm pretty sure we're at 30, but let's just double check. 1, 2, 30. Card draw is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just count them as halves. 1.5, 2.5, 13, 14. So I could use one more card draw card as I thought. I took out that Justice Prevails. My removal is decent. I don't really want Transform back. My Sage cost count was a bit low though, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's fine. My evil count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is fine for just Medusa. So what would I want to potentially take out to get one more card in there? And Inner Peace does effectively make it so I'm okay where I'm at currently. Inner Peace and Lightning Storm, since I didn't count that, so I could probably be fine with where I am. Anything I'm still considering removing. I'm happy with all of those. I'm largely happy with all of these. Definitely not removing Heinous Feast. So let's do the ones we're not removing in their own pile for sure. Just to make sure. So all of these are cards we have zero intention of removing. What can I get back with Reusable Knowledge? Roxas Curse, Medusa, then a few zeros. It's pretty good. There's a lot of cards that I'm not in love with in this deck, but they're probably good enough. Yeah, I think this is what I would want to run. Winter Fairy's a bit weak. Mighty Blow, I'm not a fan. Fires of Rebellion, we don't really need it since we have Lightning Storm and other off-turn removal. Corpse Taker, we don't have any 1 cost champions that are worth recalling except for Medusa. Go Wild, we're fairly champion light. It could be worth it for literally these 3 cards. And Medusa too, but I'm just generally not a huge fan and that's my playstyle. Resurrection, we don't have anything worth resurrecting. Demon Breach has some value since we're low on off-turn champions as well. So let's keep looking at that for a little while. And that does make Justice Prevail's possibility. I'll probably not put on either of those unless I can find something I want to get rid of. I don't think I want Justice Prevails. So in here, is there anything I want less than I want Demon Breach? Kind of Den Mother, since it's not an amazing card and it can't be played off turn. Maybe Surprise Attack, honestly, since we have Time Walk. Well, they're good with all 3 of these. So we have 3, somewhat 4 it can be used with, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. I'm not sure if having Surprise Attack is worth it for those 8 cards. If I had like a Kong or something like that, then maybe. Although Surprise Attack, Time Walker is very powerful. Time Walker I think is the only one that I really want to Surprise Attack in. Everything else, well, we are also low on off-turn plays though, so that's another reason why I don't want to get rid of Surprise Attack. Off-turn champions, that is. But I think Demon Breach is worth putting in for something. But I don't really see what that something is. Since I don't want to remove card draw, because I'm kind of low on it. I don't really want to remove zeros, because zeros are just generally powerful. Surprise Attack is really the only thing I'm looking at seriously. Maybe Avenger of Covenant, but I have a decent amount of health gain, so that makes it slightly better. And that's technically a card like Sea Titan and cards like that, Kong. But I also like Demon Breach for the Roxas Displeasure synergy, since that only breaks non-demons. But it really doesn't seem like Surprise Attack is worth it in this deck. Yeah. So this is what I would submit. I'm gonna just put it back out into the way I like to show it off, when I'll put it up with individual power cards as well to the side. So let's do it slow and 0. That looks like the list I would submit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Strafing Dragon, I don't see a spot for it. Rax's Enforcer, I don't see a spot for it. We cut those 3. Xanos. Let's look at Evil one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, I am going to put Xanos in. This could push me up to 11, and I think it's strong enough with our token synergy. So let's find something to take out for this one. It can't draw cards. Silver Dragon is one of my only airborne champions. These 3 are really powerful. Xanos is better than Den Mother, but I want both essentially. What could I remove? Possibly Arcane Research. I'm generally not a huge fan of it, as I've said, although it was very nice in one of my constructed decks. if we removed Arcane Research, it would look like, for card draw, 1, 2, that's 15. But I don't have anything I really want to keep all that much in my discard pile, so I want to remove something that's hard not drawing me cards, ideally, which might be Den Mother. Because it's off faction 2, and I don't want to remove my 1-cost good cards, since I only have 1, 2, 3 ways to recall my inner peace, which is enough, but just enough. But Den Mother is strong with my deck. I like having 1 Lightning Storm as some amount of reach. I do have Force Mage as some amount of reach. And I do have Demonic Rising as a finishing tool. But once again, Lightning Storm is somewhat draw. Yeah, I think Den Mother is the one I'd want to get rid of, since I have no other synergy with it directly aside from just tokens in general. And it's my only non-card draw card I'm really willing to get rid of, since I don't want to get rid of those 3. Don't really want to get rid of that. Don't really want to get rid of Thrasher Demon, since it's a demon and it's evil. Don't really want to get rid of that, even though I'll never trigger the recycle. Probably never. Because it's an airborne, 0-cost champion. Although without buffs it becomes significantly worse. And I'm going wide. And I have removal. And I have health gain. I have 1, 2, 11, 12, 0, so I could get rid of White Dragon and keep Den Mother. That's a tough one. Well, being able to play just a 5/5 airborne champion and keep my goal up is probably better than playing Den Mother most of the time. So yeah, let's take out Den Mother. And then once again, 1, 2, 14, 15 essentially. Yeah, that's what I would run. I'm running Sage Evil primarily, with a splash of strong good cards, primarily for the inner peace, and because Blind Faith is so good, and 1 wild card. So as I said, as we can see from the breakdown and how I was going over it, I don't think this is the strongest deck I've made by far, and I would have mulliganed my list, but I think it has some decent synergy in it. For instance, I have a token package with Xanos, Necrovirus, Demon Breach, Demonic Rising, which I think is a really nice way to end the game, especially if someone tries to Wave of Transformation you, or what's the other one, Martial Law. Zombie Apocalypse isn't amazing to use that afterwards because I don't have a ton of champions. But yeah, that's generally my deck building process. As you saw, there's a lot of basically going back and rechecking certain things about how I do it. And I'm always checking those main distributions I was talking about, like number of slow champions, ambush champions, 0-cost cards, card draw being one of the major ones. And then I have these 6 key cards, some amount of reach, especially recallable reach, some amount of health gain, especially recallable health gain. Heinous Feast means I can never lose by decking out, as long as I recycle it very soon after using it. Blind Faith is just super powerful, Medusa is just super powerful, and Rex's Curse is just super powerful. So, if you had any questions about how I did this, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll probably try and do at least 1 more of these at some point, and let me know if you want to see anything else. Alright, thank you, and have a nice night.